G'day everyone, this is the build report for the Distortion Plus. I did a sound demo quite some time ago. I never did a build report because there's not a huge amount to tell about this one, but there are a couple of things that I wouldn't mind mentioning. It's the second guitar pedal that I built, so it's a bit rough on the inside, but I'll just show you what's going on here. So it's a pretty straightforward build. I don't have a huge amount to tell about it, but there is one very important thing that I think with this circuit that I found recently. Actually, I built a second one of these for my friend, and as I was A/B testing him, I could not work out why my Distortion Plus sounded so much better than the one that I'd built for him. They just sounded totally different, and I checked the components. I went over the whole circuit. I just could not see any difference between the two, and I ended up finding out that it was actually the diode that I was using. There's two diodes. It was actually the silicon diode that I was using in mine that was different to his. They're both 1N4148s, except this is an MIC 1N4148, and for some bizarre reason it makes it sound totally different and totally better as well. You can pretty much put whatever you like in the other slot. It's you know, like a BAT41, or I just uploaded a video on using a broken germanium transistor as a diode. That they sounded good as well, but without that MIC 1N4148 in there, for some strange reason it just does not sound as good. So I ended up putting one of those in his, and they ended up sounding the same. But I spent so many hours trying to work out why there was that difference, and I ended up working out that it was that diode. So some of the other mods that you can do, there's actually quite a lot of mods that you can do for this Distortion Plus. I haven't done any of them, and I'd be tempted to actually rebuild it with a lot of these mods on, because there's a ton. I would suggest, if you're in the market for Distortion Plus mods, to go to Google and to Google Distortion Plus mods, and the first result that comes up is a page on Premier Guitar. I'm looking at it right now. MXR Distortion Plus mods, and it's a really good article, and it explains all these different things that you can do to improve the sound of your Distortion Plus, and add different modifications and things like that. Also, just the size of the pedal. This is like, I'm assuming you'd probably be new to guitar pedals if you're looking at building the MXR Distortion Plus, because it is a introductory build, I guess you could say. But I've got mine in a 1590 BB, and it's overkill for me now. I mean, I could fit it into a 1590B without any problems, but if you're new, you could just still go with the 1590B, but you're going to have a ton of room, particularly because I've used their 24mm pots, and they take up a lot of room. If you use 16mm pots, they're going to be even smaller than that, and you should be able to fit it in fine. So I assume that you're actually new to guitar pedal building, so in that case, just so you know, that's a 1590B, that's a 1590BB. You can see it's about half the size, but I've built them in 1590Bs before, and there's still tons of room in them. So it's just a matter of how confident you are with building guitar pedals, and if you're not, then go with the 1590BB. And while we're talking about mistakes, because this was my second build and my local electronics shop is kind of useless, I used a machine type DC jack, which looks like this, and as you can see, it's got that metal outside. That's no good, because with guitar pedals, the outside, this outside area where the nut screws onto is actually positive, but you've got with guitar pedals, you've got ground running through the outside of the case. So if you're touching plus 9 volts to ground, which is the case, you get a lot of sparks, and you don't get much power going through the effect. So to counter that, I use this grommet on the back. It's just a rubber grommet. I've drilled the hole, put the rubber grommet in, and then you can see on the back that there's a machined, the machine type DC jack. The only reason I haven't changed that is because it was one of my earlier pedals, and I don't really want to stuff with it too much because sometimes I like to open it and go, wow, look at that, I've really come a long way. But if you're going to build it, make sure you don't use those machine type DC jacks. Use these ones with the plastic thread so that you're separating plus 9 volts from the ground of the case. So I mean, this is basic advice, but again, if you're building the Distortion Plus, I assume that you're new to building guitar pedals, so this information might steer you in the right direction. So that's it for the build report. Short and sweet, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that diode. I spent so many hours trying to work out why they were different. I built them exactly the same, and I just could not work out why they sounded so different. It just came down to that one little, the brand of the 1N4148. There must be some difference between the two, because they sound totally different. You could try using two germanium diodes. You might get a similar sounding distortion pedal out of it, but with the standard 1N4148, I don't think it sounds very good. It sounds pretty harsh and a bit sort of lifeless. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.